Good afternoon. I'm here to introduce a new technology called Syfin. With Syfin, you can become young again. We all want to live longer. Our biological clocks tick away. Our telomeres shorten to critical lengths, leading to apostasis and naturally die. If you've been following the recent publications in Cell and Nature magazine, researchers have found that the lipidinoid count is directly related to how old somebody is. The fewer you have, the older you are. We've also found that if you can increase somebody's lipidinoid count, their biological clock can go in reverse, actually becoming younger for the first time. This is very exciting news. We at Syfin increase lipidinoids. Our patented machine transfers lipidinoids between people. For the first time, biological age can actually go backwards. So, what are we going to do? Well, let's make money. It turns out that the elderly have all the money. They have all the assets in society, and they will pay anything for age reversal. So what we did is we created a two-sided marketplace. On the supply side, we have the cash-strapped young, and on the demand side, we have the wealthy older people. And we put out a version 1 of our machine, and the demand was absolutely overwhelming. We charged a nominal $100,000 to reverse age by a single month. And our average sale was $9 million. And so our average customer wanted to reduce their age by about 90 months. And we are only able to see a certain number of people per week. And so we created a waiting list, and we have 1,500 people on a waiting list now. We only have a limited number of machines. The technical progress, our first machine, the Syfin 1, was able to take about 10 years of lipidinoids from one person, and then that yielded about a week reduction in aging. In Syfin 2.0, we can create 10 years of lipidinoids to create an entire month worth of reduction in aging. And so we pass those savings on to our customers. Just kidding. We pass the profits on to you. So on the supply side, what we have found out is that we are trying to get the most lipidinoids that we can, the biggest bang for our bucks, and the biggest ones would actually be in infants and toddlers. Right now, this actually works really well for us with the Supreme Court coming in and the possible overturning of Roe v. Wade. Abortions are going to be much harder to find, which means that there's going to be many more unwanted babies and infants around. So what we can do is we made it as an alternative to inaccessible abortions, and we've opened it up in test markets where abortions are most hard to get: Salt Lake City, Oklahoma City, and Charleston, South Carolina. And our motto here is that pregnancy equals profit. And it's no longer a cost to a woman. Now you can actually make money from it. So our producer payout, which is a woman who actually has a child, we give them $7,500 plus all the medical costs associated with having a baby, whatever the issues may be. And with one baby, we can get about 110 years of lipidinoids, which is absolutely astounding. With our V1 machine, that led to about $275,000 after all the costs were associated. And that was from a full infant depletion. But with the V2 machine, which we only have about one of right now, this will lead to a $1.1 million gross profit per infant. So that would mean that after all costs are associated, we make about $1.09 million for 9 months of unskilled labor on a point of the woman. So this is a great profit for us, since we don't really care which woman is using our product or anything like that. So to make it really easy and convenient for their side, we created a supply tech in order to sort of encourage them. So we have an app, the My Syfin gig economy app for the baby producers of the world, so they can sign up and have scores on how well they're doing. And then we also have a device that they can hook up onto their Android or iOS device to have a proof of pregnancy detector. And that allows them to gain special badges on the app. And then they could actually have a futures contract where loans could be available prior to the baby production date, based on the relative uncertainty of whether the baby is going to be alive or dead, because we have to have a living baby, because the lipidinoids degenerate immediately after death. So we've also been able to do a lot of research on women that are more likely to produce twins, or triplets, and so then we can actually use that as leveraging power and allow them to pull out more on their loans. And along with that, the other difficulty of pregnancy is that you have to find a man. and there's artificial insemination clinics, and there's kits that they can use. And so along with the free devices for the pregnancy detector, we can also send them free kits on demand that they can use in order to impregnate themselves and produce a baby. So about our competition. Our process is secret, our machine is patented, and we have no plans to license it. There's, of course, the threat of synthetic lipidinoids, which, because of the complex chemistry, it's still maybe about 10 years out from actually being creating stable molecules. So we don't have anything to worry about for quite some time. There is a transfer recovery after the lipidinoid injection. It takes about 96 hours, during which time you have to have a very strict sleep, diet, and exercise regimen in order that you don't go to some form of necrosis. And some kind of a paralyzation can occur if you don't follow the rules exactly. So there is that, and people have to follow the regimen pretty closely. We used to have that at 72 hours, but then people would come back in after 72 hours for another treatment, and we caused a couple deaths that way. And they're all signed off, we're all insured. So don't worry about that. And so we increased it to 96, and we haven't had any deaths since then. So that's good. So there's other sort of medical alternatives such as organ transplant, skin grafting, cosmetic surgery. We think that those are going to hold on to their markets because really what we're looking at is our growth sectors in non-traditional vanity markets. People may be wanting to ward off diseases that they may be more likely to contract as they grow older. So that has been our main source of revenue coming in. Our average age is about 76 coming through the door. So our financials. Our V2 machine cost about $10 million each, and they last about 2 years. It turns out that there is some type of degradation every time you use the machine in order to do a lipidinoid transfer, and the parts have to be very accurately made, and that's the brute cost of the machine. And so after using it, we estimate about 2 years, it will no longer work that well. So the clinic cost, if we were to run them every day, it would be $17,000 a day. So we need to have specialized doctors on site, security, secretaries, all the overhead of the cost of the clinic and the property and the rental. And we also have to worry about full infant depletion. We have to make sure that all the lipidinoids before cell degeneration are made productive. So if somebody comes in and we have a baby that has 110 years of lipidinoids and somebody only orders maybe 50 years, then we have to make sure that we can chain up another client that comes in immediately that can use up the other 60 years of lipidinoids. Because if after the first depletion, then we have about an hour window before the baby dies. So our per unit annual profit. Our V1 net per clinic has been, historically, we've had it open about 2 years. It's been about $11.7 million per clinic. And because of our great strides in our V2 technology, we estimate it's going to be $140 million per clinic because our margins are so much higher. For our raise amount, what we want to do is we want to, currently we only have this in a few US cities, we want to do this. So we're looking for $750 million in convertible notes at a $4 billion valuation. Our plan is to construct 75 machines in wealthy countries without abortion that have high social stratification. For example, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, India, and Singapore. We've run surveys in these countries, and we believe that we can get more baby producers in these poor countries, and also that we can lower our payout down to maybe about $750 per woman. This also opens the door for our US and European clients to avoid the wait list by doing medical tourism, and we'll put a surcharge on top of that, along with giving a first-class flight over to their appointed destination. So after we get the money, it will take about 6 months lead time for the V2 manufacturing of these devices. While we're doing it, we will secure the locations, find the doctors, everything involved so that we can just sort of slide the machines in when they're ready to go. Also, during this round, if people do investments over $10 million, then they can skip our official wait list if they would like to have a lipidinoid transfer themselves. Our goal is to have global operations of 75 clinics in about 6 to 9 months. And currently we have a joint lead between Yosemite Capital and Liquid Bank at $400 million. So we're still looking for that other $350 million. And that's Syfin. Thank you so much for your time, and now I have time for a Q&A.